You are now entering the Mysterious Historians podcast. The Oscars, Hollywood's greatest night, or a bloated festival of narcissism. Today I sit down with Dr. Buddy Corman to discuss the history of the Academy Awards. But first, I'd like to thank this episode's sponsor, Cammy's Trees. Do you like breathing? I know I do. But why breathe just anybody's air? With a tree from Cammy's Trees, you get your own private oxygen. Breathing has never been more exclusive. Cammy's Trees on Fairfax. And now, on to our show. I'd like to welcome my guest, Dr. Buddy Corman.
Hi.
Hi, Buddy.
I'm so pleased to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here.
And I was excited to hear about that product about breathing because I love breathing and I don't think I get enough air sometimes.
I've never met a person who doesn't like breathing.
Right. Well, that's something we all have in common, no matter what our differences is.
You love things that people have in common. In fact, that's how we met. We're both historians.
Yes. We met at a historian party get-together.
Oh, all five of us really went crazy.
It was a big turnout. 5 people showed up. We did really cut loose.
I know. Normally there's only the 2.
No, just 2. But 5, it doubled plus.
I almost didn't have enough fingers to count.
Or air to breathe.
Oh.
This is already so joyful.
If we stopped right here, it would be a success.
Let's keep going and take a gamble, which is like the Oscars.
Buddy, tell me first of all, what got you into cinema history, especially the Oscars?
Well, movies have always been such a wonderful form of escape for all of us, really. It's another thing we all have in common. But as a child, and since we all started that way, my mother was a big lover of the movies and the Oscars. She's not a warm human being, but the one thing she would always demand of me is that I would sit next to her on the couch and watch the Academy Awards. I had very lovely memories of this woman and me, my mother, this woman, watching the Academy Awards, laughing and talking about stuff, because the rest of our life was very much sort of like, get away from me. My husband's gone, your father, and I think it might be your fault.
Oh, it always is.
It's always the child's fault.
Yes.
Yes. But the Oscars was just a time of connections. I have lovely memories of that.
Did your mother want to be an actress?
Yes, very much so.
But you ruined that for her.
I did ruin that because she was 21 years old. She got impregnated by my father. And then she had to dedicate herself to raising me because he just took off. He just left.
It's a tragic story.
Very tragic.
Another podcast. Let's just dive.
However, she would prefer monologues for me in the kitchen while I was eating breakfast, and it often made me late to school. If she didn't feel emotionally connected, she would start over and over again until she felt right. It could take hours.
What was her favorite monologue? From Night Mother or something?
Oh, no, Night Mother hadn't been written yet.
Oh, sorry.
But no, it was from Come Back Little Sheba.
I'm very familiar.
Are you?
Yes.
Which Shirley Booth, who created the role, also won the Oscar for that movie in the 1950s. Wonderful performance. And then she went on to a television series called Hazel, where she played a maid. A funny maid.
Movies/plays about alcoholism are always my favorite. They're the closest to home, and they say you watch what you know.
Yeah, they do say you watch what you know. Leaving Las Vegas must have been a joyful experience for you.
Well, Nicolas Cage. I don't know if anyone's ever said this, and
Go
this
for
might
it,
be
because I have thoughts too about
controversial.
Go
but
ahead.
I think he's a little uneven.
He's uneven, yes, and sometimes attractive, and sometimes just like toe jam.
Yes.
Like very unappealing.
I think the worst thing a man can do is start to have receding hair and
terrible.
then try to dye it black.
Thank you.
Nothing says you don't have any hair anymore than from the box black hair dye.
It only works if you're going to be playing a vampire.
Exactly.
That's a terrible look. I think we both agree on that.
I'm so distracted with the idea of just listing men who shouldn't have played vampires now. But
Who's your worst vampire actor?
who is my worst? Gerard Butler in Dracula 2000.
Oh, terrible. Although my funniest is Leslie Nielsen in Dracula, Dead and Loving It.
He should have gotten a nomination.
Dad, you know what? I've always felt that there should be a comedy nomination.
There should be.
A combination.
And Leslie Nielsen would win all of them.
You would not now because he's dead.
No.
But at the time, oh, definitely. Every year, Leslie Nielsen.
Especially for the film Nuts.
No, I was going to say when he ran around in his little red Speedos, I laughed so hard. Anyone who beats up Barbra Streisand is funny to me.
Now let's begin at the beginning. Louis B. Mayer invents the Oscars to distract actors from unionizing. Thoughts?
Terrible man, Louis B. Mayer. The best thing I'd say he ever created was that lion that roared at the beginning of his movies. Other than that, and he made some great movies, but not a friend to actors.
No.
The result of it, we got the Academy Award, so thank you, Louis. But is he really saying that actors are so insecure that they would rather get praise and an award than actually health care and a union?
I have to say, I think Louis was right.
He might have been. Well, it worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
For a while, anyway.
What, the Oscars?
Yeah, distracting people. But, now we have unions, things like that. Or they have unions.
It was a Band-Aid on the union problem for Louis. But, everything wins at the end.
There's legends of where the term Oscar came from, that the people who designed the Oscars, there was someone named Oscar or someone's father named Oscar.
Sorry, my ride's here.
We are in the inner city. We're in Westwood.
Yes, California.
A dangerous corner of Los Angeles.
Yes, a lot of students from UCLA break out into fights for no reason, and the police come or ambulances, and that's what we're hearing. Yeah. But it stops, so maybe the ruckus is over.
Maybe they're dead.
Maybe.
No need to rush to save a dead body.
Thank you. I love that quote. I remember seeing that in the bumper stickers in the late 1970s.
The 70s, when you could have fun.
Thank you.
Now, as we were discussing the legend of where the term Oscar comes from, what do you think of Betty Davis claiming it for herself?
Well, I think it's an interesting story. I think Betty Davis famously said she created the name Oscar because she said it looked like her ex-husband Oscar. It looked like his buttocks or his butthole or something like that. So it might be true. Who knows? Betty had a lot of power. However, Betty also was one to create a yarn or three. She, after Joan Crawford died, she went around telling people Joan Crawford campaigned so she wouldn't win the Oscar for Baby Jane and that it was so close. But we don't know if that's totally true. Could be true. But like a lot of things Betty said, we don't know.
No, and the dead can't argue.
The dead can't argue. That's also the title of a wonderful Joan Crawford movie. The dead can't argue.
Her shoulder pads do most of the acting.
No, as they should.
Now, the two of them are very famous for two different separate Oscar stories. Betty Davis for showing up in a house dress to win an Academy Award, and then Joan Crawford not going and phoning in.
Right, from her bed. She faked her illness. She said she had the flu. So she knew how to work the press. So they all had to go to her house and just record her while she was in bed with the flu. However, completely made up, of course. So she was a very memorable thing. It was for the movie Mildred Pierce. She plays a mother who starts from nothing and then works her way up, gets some money and self-worth, but has a daughter that doesn't appreciate her at all. Oh, and they slap each other.
Let's get into it.
Yes.
I think we've gone over well-trod territory.
Of course.
So now I want specific Dr. Buddy Corman information.
Okay.
Give me a greatest Oscar scandal.
One time Mickey Rooney apparently was at the... This is can I just share a story that people don't know? Mickey Rooney was backstage. This was around 1962. and he had a little bit to drink, and he went up to Gregory Peck and kicked him in the shin and said, "You think you're so tough? Why don't you come down to my size and let's see how tough you are?" And Gregory Peck decked him right in the temple of his eye. Mickey Rooney flew across the room. This was backstage. Slid on stage, not full body, just the top of his head, made it on stage, almost on camera. Nobody caught it, but everyone in the audience saw it, and they all had to sign an agreement never to talk about it.
Then how did you know about it?
Well, I know about it because I once interviewed she was very young at the time, but Mia Farrow told me that story, which I know she's still around, and if she knew I told the story, might come after me with a Rosemary baby knife situation. But she said in an interview she was there, and she saw the whole thing. She also didn't like Mickey Rooney.
No, I mean, who does?
Well, not many.
Speaking of Mickey Rooney, there used to be a child actors category at the Academy Awards. They got rid of it. Thoughts, feelings?
Yes, I'm glad they got rid of it. I don't need to see children win awards.
When I was a child, you had to compete against adults. What are we, making a separate category? Coddling children?
Thank you. Well, Tatum O'Neal won an Oscar, and she competed against adults, although her role arguably was the lead in the movie. But she won for supporting actress and nominated against Madeline Kahn for the same movie, who really, truly was the supporting actress. But that situation happens a lot. Jessica Lange and Tootsie, really the lead actress in that movie. Why is she up for supporting actress in a category with Terry Garr, who was also in the movie, who truly was a supporting actress? Viola Davis, Fences, that's the lead actress, but she's in the supporting category, and so on. Timothy Hutton, it's not just women in Ordinary People. He's the lead character in the movie. Why is he in the category of supporting actor and winning against Judd Hirsch, who played his therapist in the movie and is a supporting performance?
It's not fair.
Not at all.
What do you think of this manipulation so that they can get people who are basically playing the lead actor, competing against people who have much smaller parts, and then they end up winning because, of course, their part was far more significant?
Correct. I feel, can I be very honest? I think it's pure evil. I think it's evil. It's selfish. It's not kind. It's just not. I remember Winona Ryder, who really has not been nominated for much, but was nominated for The Age of Innocence. Mm-hmm. Really, that's not a supporting part. No. That's a lead actress. And I was very angry about that. And I want to believe to this day that Winona Ryder is evil.
It's possible.
Do you think so? She did steal stuff.
Mm-hmm. Only evil people steal.
That's true. That's also the title of a Joan Crawford movie. Only evil people steal. It was a comedy, though.
I want to talk about one of the biggest scandals of the Academy
Love
Awards.
The French way of pronouncing scandal. Scandale.
Now, Marlon Brando wins his second Academy Award.
Can I just take one moment?
Yes.
To moan
pleasurably
over the young Marlon Brando. You.
I enjoy an older Marlon Brando.
Oh, really?
An Island of Dr. Moreau.
Don Juan DeMarco?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Covered in linen.
Oh, the more Marlon Brando, the better.
Yeah. There's never too much Marlon Brando, I say. Marlon Brando, second Oscar nomination and win for The Godfather.
Wait, his second nomination or second win?
Oh, I should tell you.
Well, his second win was for The Godfather, but it was not his second nomination.
You're right.
Has actually been nominated for Streetcar Named Desire. Mm-hmm. He was nominated for On the Waterfront and other films.
Now, he sends Sachin Littlefeather.
Oh, yes.
To claim his award. Talk about that moment.
Oh, it's so memorable. Well, it was, as we mentioned earlier, the 70s was you could do anything. This was the early 70s, so this was a time where the fashion changed towards the Oscars. People were just being rebellious. George C. Scott, just a few years earlier, got nominated for Patton and refused the nomination and still won for Best Actor. Well, that was the first time that ever happened. And then Marlon Brando, just a few years later, thumbed his nose at the Oscars and had Shasheen Littlefeather accept the award and make it a speech about the treatment of the Native American people in how Hollywood is treated. It was very scandalous, but so interesting.
As a man who loves the Oscars, are you the John Wayne in this situation, ready to storm down and slap her, or are you the man who applauded her?
Oh, I applauded her. I applauded everything about it. It was memorable. It had something to say. I loved her outfit. It was stunning. People were upset. It was just a great drama in the Oscars. Now, and I feel it was sincere. The only time I don't like it is when it's insincere. Oh, when Gwyneth Paltrow won and just couldn't stop crying over it. Don't, come on, stop. There was a fashion in the 90s, I would say, of people winning an Oscar and just sobbing to the point of they can't talk. Gwyneth Paltrow, Halle Berry, Nicole Kidman, when she went for the... just stop it.
What do you think is the correct level of honored, amazed, moved a person should be at for an Academy Award win?
It should be enough where they feel it, they mean it, it's a little funny, and then they get off the stage. I'm not also a fan of when... Joe Pesci wins, for example. You remember what happened, of course, because we all do, when he won for Goodfellas, and he just basically said thank you and left.
Oh, you don't like a brief, short one.
Well,
so
thank somebody.
Alfred Hitchcock winning a Lifetime Achievement Award.
No, he said that. Well, I'll let Hitch have that, because he never won an actual Oscar, which is crazy. It's crazy that there's a lot of people who have not won Oscars.
Ooh, list them. Your top 5.
The number one most nominated and never won, as we all know and talk about every moment of every day, is Peter O'Toole.
Yes.
Never won. He got a special Oscar. Never won. Can you imagine being Peter O'Toole and never win? What's going on with Glenn Close? Why can't that Academy give it to her?
She boiled that bunny, and they never forgave her.
She boiled that bunny, and then they not only did they never forgave her, they say we're gonna give it to Cher. They gave it to Cher, who I did enjoy in Moonstruck, but
she's wonderful in that film.
Wonderful, delightful movie all around. Olympia Dukakis. But I have dreams where I just call out to Olympia Dukakis. My cats tell me. But she didn't get it for boiling the bunny. She didn't get it for pulling her makeup off at the end of Dangerous Liaisons, because they gave it to Jodie Foster that year.
For the accused.
For the pinball machine.
That wig alone should have negated that nomination.
That wig lost her a few votes, I heard.
You ever notice, you never think someone has a lot of hair until they put a wig over their hair, and then it looks like they're wearing a wig over a bicycle helmet?
What's your favorite movie where they put a wig on? Or worst?
It's the Jennifer Lopez film,
Ooh.
Enough. The film Enough. Yes, her short wig in that. Is incredible.
That's a whole genre of movies.
I love a dry, short wig.
That whole, like, I'm a woman who's escaping a man. I go to another town. I'm going to cut my hair. Julia Roberts in Sleeping with the Enemy.
Also looks like a wig over a bike cap.
It's like when they say a hat on top of a hat. It's a wig on top of a hair.
Yeah.
I think the worst wig I ever saw was the ending of Pretty in Pink.
Oh,
Andrew McCarthy putting that wig on at the end because they had to reshoot that scene because nobody wanted to see her with Ducky.
No one did.
Audiences booed.
He'd also lost a significant amount of weight, so it did look like he was dying.
So basically, Was her character's name Andy in that movie?
Yes.
Well, my memory is fantastic.
Well, it didn't get nominated for an Oscar.
No.
We can't expect you to know everything.
But I saw it. Yes. So Andy ended up not with Ducky, her gay friend, but with a sick, popular boy with a wig on.
The American Dream.
Richard Burton, never, sure, nominated, never won. Amy Adams! That woman's been nominated more times than you probably realized. Do you think about Amy Adams getting nominated for an Oscar? Because I bet she does. She has been nominated surprisingly. I mean, she's wonderful, but more than you'd imagine. She's still young. She could get it. And musically, poor Diane Warren. Can't get a, I was going to say the F word. That's how upset I am about it.
Well,
They keep she shits a song out of her butt, puts it in a movie now that nobody has seen, and she gets a nomination because it's like everyone feels sorry for her, but they not enough to give her the award.
maybe they'll give it to her after she dies.
Well, how would she write the song?
Posthumous.
Oh, like a special award,
like a Heath Ledger, or yes, a lifetime.
Oh, like she
achievement.
happened to get nominated and then die in the same year.
Yes.
Like Heath Ledger or Network. Why am I blanking on his name? The gentleman who won Best Actor for Network. Oh my gosh, my memory isn't. It's
All
great.
I want to say is George Papard, and I know that's not
George
true.
Papard. Peter Finch.
There you go.
Peter. I bet everybody listening in your audience was screaming at the radio or whatever they listened to with veins popping out of their neck. Peter Finch.
Furious. Tell me your top five. We don't have to stick with the number 5, but
That's a good number.
Oh, it's a crisp number.
That was the age that my mother made me start watching the Oscars with her.
And the
Or
drama began.
The drama began.
Tell me your
And the drama.
Ooh, I love rhyme. Tell me your top 5 winners. Let's start positive.
Oh, positive. My top 5. It happened one night.
Oh, wonderful.
All About Eve.
Wonderful as well.
Ordinary People. Wonderful. Oh, you did? That was just a.
I love it. I was just trying to mix it up for our listeners.
The Godfather. This is
Yes,
all just on the
yes,
top of
yes.
my lungs. And also, I'm saying Brokeback Mountain, even though it didn't win. I am angry, and it should have.
It should have. What won that year?
The movie that I dare not say its name.
Crash?
Well, there you go.
Oh.
That is the Voldemort of movies. I still can't. I was just talking about your viewers screaming at the radio. I screamed at that TV set for an entire week. I stayed in the same position screaming at the TV set because I could not believe that Brokeback Mountain did not win the Oscar. It won Best Director, but it did not win Best Picture.
Our country has never been more divided, except for, all of history and the Civil War. But
Yeah.
I believe we
This
could
is number 2.
all come together to
Right.
say that Crash is the worst film to win
Yes.
the Academy Award.
Yes, and it almost happened again with La La Land, but Faye Dunaway read the wrong name.
I heard they were given the wrong envelope. It
That's-
was not their fault.
It's not their fault. But what I say isn't incorrect. She read the wrong name.
She read the correct name on the piece
That
of paper.
is, you know what? You're correct. Are you a Faye supporter or are you a Faye against her?
I support her mania, but I'm against her mania being directed at others.
Interesting.
Have you seen her episode of Columbo?
Oh, of course.
Wonderful.
Wonderful work. And she'll tell you every time you see her. We have lunch
Oh.
every week at Denny's. And we meet and talk. And she brings up Columbo every time and brings her Academy Award.
Well, I mean, how else are you going to get chocolate chip pancakes for free?
Well, this is Faye's joke. The waitress comes up and she says, what you'll have, hun? And Faye slams her Oscar down and says, the Grand Slam.
Oh, that's wonderful. I would laugh and laugh and laugh if I was there.
Not weekly. You know what's coming.
You don't know me. To me, I don't like jokes that are surprises.
No, but you like rhymes.
Yeah, I do love rhymes.
Yeah.
And a rhyme's not a surprise. I know something's coming that rhymes with what was said.
Right. Oh, interesting. I'm learning a lot about you.
Oh, well, that's the point of the podcast.
Oh, that's the point.
Let's talk about some other major moments. There's the Adrian Brody assault of Holly Berry.
Very much an assault. Legal assault. Yes.
Isn't it odd that we watched and cheered, and now...
Couldn't do it.
No.
No, shouldn't do it.
Shouldn't grab a stranger and just kiss them because you want to.
Yeah, I think, yes. No, never. He was caught up, obviously, in the surprise. No one expected him to win. But there's different ways to handle that. He could have easily have kissed Jack Nicholson in the first row, who was favored and expected to win that year for about Schmidt.
Wonderful. Kathy Bates naked in a hot tub.
That's all I need. That and a young Marlon Brando. Wait a second.
I'd inverse it.
Oh.
Old Brando, young Kathy Bates.
Oh.
Night Mother Kathy Bates.
Oh, yes, the original Night Mother. But not the movie.
No.
That was Sissy Spacek.
Sissy Spacek.
Sissy Spacek.
Who won for Coal Miner's Daughter?
She sure did. The same year of Ordinary People. So Mary Tyler Moore did not get it for what could stroked. What could arguably have been her best work.
I don't think anyone would argue. What has Mary Tyler Moore done before or since that's better than her performance in Ordinary People?
A movie that no one talks about anymore called 6 Weeks with her and Dudley Moore. I think it's 6 weeks. Is it 9 weeks? Is it 10 weeks? Some Christmas movie where her daughter's dying.
And it's wonderful.
What else do you want from a movie? Christmas and my kid's dying. Let's go ice skate by the Rockefeller Center.
Oh, New York and death and Christmas?
It's what else
Sign
can you
me
want?
up.
Sign me up. That's the only thing that's missing from It's a Wonderful Life. The child shouldn't have said, "Oh, Daddy, look, every time," teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings. The child should have died limp in his arms right after saying that. And I would have never stopped watching that movie.
No, because that's a twist ending.
Oh, sure.
He comes back to life, but the small child dies.
Well, his life comes back to life.
Yes,
I
his
see
life.
what
He
his life.
exists again.
And what's her name is Zuzu? Zuzu. The child's name is Zuzu. Zuzu. Daddy, look. Every time, teacher says every time a bell rings, the teacher gets a swing. That's right, Zuzu, that's right.
Wonderful impression.
And then Zuzu goes, the light. Limp. Zuzu. It's a Wonderful Life.
And then a bell rings again because
and-
Zuzu's also now an angel with
But
wings.
in your theory, Zuzu dies and instantly gets her wings.
A child death should automatically make
Get
you
wings.
an
You're
angel.
correct. Poor Zuzu.
It won't get you an Oscar, but
Who knows? At that time, Zuzu could have been nominated.
I don't know about you, but people die in my home all the time. You can burn your sages and scrub your scrubs, but the scent of death still lingers. But with a tree from Cami, you can use the natural filtration of photosynthesis to purge your home of odors and regret. Cami's Trees, now located on La Brea. And back to our show. Let's talk about it. I know anyone who's listening to an Oscar history podcast wants us to talk about it. The slap, the Will Smith slap of Chris Rock.
No. Yes, that was a terrible moment in Oscar history. Very dramatic, very memorable. I did not approve of it at all.
No.
None of it. None of it. This was such a weird time. We were all coming out of COVID. People couldn't be near each other. Everyone was acting it felt like I was watching The Purge, not the Oscars.
I found it fascinating.
Sure.
Because human history has been filled with many terrible events to the point where we're a bit jaded, I think. And finally, something happened that surprised all of us so much that no one knew how to react.
Right. They all sat. Be interesting. I don't know now. Hearing you talk about that, if my issue was so much that someone got slapped, I think the wrong person got slapped.
Who should have been slapped?
Oh, I think anytime Wilford Brimley presented an Oscar, someone should have just gone up and smacked his smug face.
Tom Cruise never won an Oscar.
No, he has not. He's been nominated many times. Never won.
I'm surprised he hasn't willed one into existence.
Yes, just his positive energy jumping on a couch.
I mean,
Really one. Which movie do you think he should have willed into? And I'll tell you which one I think he should have willed.
I actually think Tom Cruise is a terrible actor.
Okay.
I think he tends to sort of tense his muscles and shout.
Yes.
So none of them.
So he's gone to the James Woods School of Acting.
Yes. Who I enjoyed before I found out about his personality.
Oh, he's a terrible, terrible human. I would agree with you about Tom Cruise. However, I will say I enjoy him in the action movies. I will follow him anywhere he wants to take me in the Mission Impossible. And if he did win an Oscar, the one he should have won was for All the Right Moves.
Oh, an early film.
Well, his penis was out.
Oh. I would have enjoyed the hilarity of him being nominated for Far and Away.
Oh, with that
Irish accent.
Yes, what a wonderful accent. I really felt like it was watching a 2-hour film about Lucky Charms. He was in Taps. Remember Taps? I think he went crazy in it or something.
Timothy Dalton is also in that
Timothy
film?
Hutton.
Timothy Hutton.
And Sean Penn.
They all, that clique of actors who avoided being brat-packed.
No, they didn't get brat-packed.
They didn't get brat-packed.
Well, really, I saw that documentary. Didn't you see it?
I did.
Let's calm down.
Is there anyone that you're furious has never been nominated?
What about the fact that Angela Lansbury was fantastic in a couple movies and didn't win?
That's true.
Thank you.
Before we wrap up, we've been talking about awards.
Yes.
Let's discuss hosts.
Oh, yes. So many hosts.
The Oprah Uma of it all goes without saying. A terrible act by
David Letterman. However, not the worst, by far.
Who would you say is the worst?
Anne Hathaway and James Franco that year. Horrible. What was happening? Nothing. One person stoned out of his mind. The other person should be stoned to death. I don't mean that literally, but you catch me with a few vodka mixes, and I might mean it.
What do we think of Billy Crystal?
Wonderful. Bring him back. Sing those songs. Maybe one of the best ever. I'm going to put money down on that. Maybe best ever. And I did love a good Johnny Carson.
He knew it. He had class. He knew
Johnny
when to get in
had
and get out.
class. Unless you turned on him, and then you're Joan Rivers, and you're out. Yeah, don't turn on Johnny, and don't be his ex-wife.
Joan Rivers never nominated for an Oscar.
Should have been for Spaceballs or The Muppets Take Manhattan.
The entire Muppet cast should have been nominated.
Well, can I say something? This is actually true. There was sort of a tongue-in-cheek conversation at the time from when the Muppet movie came out, around 1980-ish, 79?
79, I believe.
For Miss Piggy to be nominated.
She's a wonderful performer.
Wonderful. Miss Piggy was... What a genius. What a genius.
Levels. Pathos.
Comedy, drama, singing, everything. Strength, vulnerability.
What a journey.
What a pig. What a wonderful pig woman. What a wonderful pig woman.
I think that's where we end. Dr. Buddy Corman, where can my listeners find you?
I am often walking around the halls of any university that you might be at. I can't tell you which ones because I'm not officially an employee. I'm also on Tinder under the name Buddy Hardon.
Sexual.
Well, that's how you attract people. And there's lots of pictures of me without shirts, holding Oscars, which are very heavy. I'm sure you've never heard that before.
I've never heard that before.
The Oscars are heavy. And I'm also on Twitter at Buddy, 3 times a charm, Beetlejuice. That's the full name.
It's so hard when you have a name like Buddy that all the other buddies were taken.
Right. And my mother named me Buddy because she didn't want to call me son.
And to my dear listeners, remember to follow your dreams and practice your Oscar speeches.
Merry Hollywood.
Thank you all so much for listening. My guest today was Mitch Silpa. Mitch, where can the audience find you?
I'm on Instagram at Mitch Silpa Pics, Pics. And I'm on TikTok under my own name, I guess.
Just Mitch Silpa?
Yeah.
That's great.
Silpa.
Yeah, and you're not on Threads or Strands?
Oh, I'm on Threads. I'm on Facebook because I'm 90. But I'm not on X, formerly known as
me either.
Twitter.
I got off of it.
I got off that scary place.
Yeah.
It's all scary.
But now Threads is just as bad.
Is it?
I mean, I don't think it's bad in the way that Twitter is bad or X is bad, but
it's not a joy-filled place.
It's not a joy-filled place. Like,
No.
the feed is all just dread and doom and
yes.
people stirring the pot and asking people, like...
Maybe it's not as bad because there's less. It feels like there's less people on it. But I'd rather be on Threads because I feel like it's the same people I'm on Instagram with, kind of.
Yeah, it's weird. People are getting suggested to me that I'm like, block.
Yeah.
None of this will make the podcast. All right, we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
For more Mysterious Historian, she's on YouTube at The Mysterious Historian 666, and she's on TikTok at the.mysterious.historian. Thank you very much.